Howdy y'all, and welcome to this special May Outlook. Just a disclaimer here that we cannot accurately predict the future, so please take this forecast with a grain of salt. Now to get into what we could expect for the month of May, we're off to get into our enso pattern. What is this? Well, there's three phases: El Niño, La Niña, and enso neutral. It's basically our sea surface temperatures near the central and eastern Pacific, and it dictates how our weather is going to act for the month. Now there's three phases: El Niño, La Niña, and enso neutral. El Niño is warmer waters, La Niña is colder waters, and enso neutral is an average of both. It's looking like enso neutral is going to be favored to persist all the way into the summer and potentially through fall and early winter, with a 50% chance for fall and winter, with a possible return of La Niña. As you can see here, this was updated on April 10th. I think they only update these once a month because this whole webpage here was updated yesterday. We can see enso neutral is going to be dominant all the way into the summer months, with La Niña and El Niño creeping in. And as you can see, into early winter, it's going to be a toss-up between La Niña, enso neutral, and El Niño. So basically, enso neutral is going to be persisting throughout the whole entire year unless anything changes. And as y'all know, the weather changes on a dime, and we cannot accurately predict the future. So again, take this forecast with a grain of salt. Now to simplify it for y'all, enso neutral refers to a climate state where neither El Niño or La Niña are present, meaning sea surface temperatures in the central and eastern Pacific are near average. For May of this year, an enso neutral condition suggests that no extreme El Niño, warmer or wetter in some areas, or La Niña, cooler and drier, are going to be present. So expect typical seasonal weather for May, with regional variations driven by local climate factors rather than strong enso influences. Neutral conditions often lead to more predictable weather patterns. That's kind of an oxymoron because the weather's not really that predictable, but they don't eliminate variability like I said earlier. For example, North America might see normal spring transitions, while monsoon regions like South Asia could have average rainfall onset, which we're not going to talk about South Asia here, but just an interesting tidbit there. So, based on current data, Climate Prediction Center suggests a 60 to 70% chance of enso neutral conditions persisting through May, with a potential shift towards La Niña later in the year. And you'll see later in the video that I did mention that we're going to be around 60% chance of La Niña. That was for early April, but of course, canon will change. Of course, I'm expecting enso neutral, which means a more predictable weather pattern. And at the end of the video, I will compare and contrast previous enso neutrals 2019 and 2021 and summarize per region of what you could expect for the month of May. Now, take a look at what we could expect for the month of May. We're going to take a look at the long-range models, take a look at the above and below average temperature and precipitation trends. First, we're going to take a look at the precipitation. We all know that April was a very wild month for severe weather and flooding. And you can see here the bright colors are the above average, the darker colors is below average. And it's looking like to start off, we're going to be still remaining in this pattern, but leaning towards a drying trend here in the Midwest, parts of the Northeast, and West Coast, while the Southwest and Southern Plains could be well above average and could be coming in on some drought relief. But of course, this is going to change as we head into the middle and end of the month, with the desert Southwest starting to dry out a little bit. And of course, the further we go out, the more uncertainty there is. That's why there's more white on the map here. Could mean either up above or below average, but I'm expecting the end of the month to be above average when it comes to precipitation here in the Midwest, while the Southwest dries out and the west central part of the country is still going to remain in a wet trend. And you can see at the end of the month, the Southwest is definitely going to start to come in on a drying pattern. Now, as we take a look at the experts at the Climate Prediction Center to take a look at their monthly precipitation outlook updated on April 17th, we can see the west central part of the country is on average going to be below average. I'm thinking they're getting their data for the beginning parts of May, while the eastern part of the country is going to be coming in on an above average precipitation pattern. Down by Florida could be pretty dry. Now, equal chances means either above or below average, just depends. And I'm expecting the beginning parts of May and into the middle parts of May to be very wet down here in the Southwest, but leaning towards being dry at the end of the month, so be aware of that. Of course, the west central part of the country, I'm expecting y'all to be wet to start, a little bit dry to finish, so they're pretty spot on here. And of course, the eastern half of the country, going to be a dry start to May, but I'm expecting it to start to become a little bit soggy as we head into the end of the month, which could lead to an active severe weather pattern yet again. So May could look a little bit similar to April, but I'm not expecting anything too crazy. But May is peak tornado season, which we'll get into here in a little bit. Now on to the temperature anomalies, whether or not we're going to be above or below average for much of the country. April was very warm for much of the country, which was some good news. We can see here that we're going to be starting off a little bit cool here out east. It's going to be dry and cool to start, it looks like. And it's going to be wet and cool to start down here in the southwest. Variability of both in the western central part of the country. Some areas could be coming in on above average. Some areas could be coming in on below average. North central is going to be above average for really much of the month. But it's looking like as we head towards the end of the month, it's looking like much of the country is going to be heading into somewhat of an above average trend. So we could be warming up slightly here out east, which is going to result in severe weather in the middle and end of the month, which peak tornado season is mid to late May, by the way. And of course, the western part of the country is going to be the bullseye when it comes to above average temperatures. So basically, start off May, it's going to be cool and dry here out east. Cool and wet in the southwest, warm here in the north central and west central part of the country. As we head further into the month, it's going to be warming up slightly here across much of the lower 48. And as we take a look at the Climate Prediction Center's temperature outlook here, we can see much of the country is going to be well above average. And of course, equal chances means either below or above average temperatures, which I'm expecting the beginning of May to be a little bit cool and dry. And then at the end of the month, I'm expecting it to be warming up a little bit, but still cool, and a little bit wet, which could cause some severe weather. Same goes for the northwest and northeast as well. So at the end of the video, I will sum this all up region by region of what you could expect. So stay tuned. I'm trying not to confuse y'all, and hopefully I'm not doing that. Now shifting gears here to some interesting May facts and folklore y'all most likely did not know. Starting off with some fascinating May weather facts. Of course, we all know tornado peak season is in May, with an average of 268 tornadoes compared to April's 211 and June's 223. The peak hits mid to late May, like I said earlier, which we could have that this coming month. Why this happens is because moist Gulf air slams into cool, dry fronts from the Rockies, igniting supercells across Tornado Alley, which is in the Central Plains and shifting eastward. This year's ENSO update, and this is what I was saying earlier as well, that's saying that La Niña odds are at 60%. Of course, we're heading into more of an ENSO neutral pattern, but of course Canada will change as we head into May, so be aware of this. ENSO neutral until La Niña holds, then could have a tornado season like in 2011, where we had 326 tornadoes, including the Joplin F5 that killed over 158 people. So expect this year to lean active if April's early storms hold the trend. So I'm not expecting anything like 2011. Technically no, technically yes. But like I said earlier, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. As we are heading into an ENSO neutral pattern, which means a more predictable weather pattern for the month of May, which could mean an active month of severe weather and potential flooding as well. Now, of course, the second one here, temperature swings. We all know that May can have snow one week, severe weather the next, flooding the next day, vice versa. You can see an example here in Denver. On May 9th of 2017, there was a late snowstorm that dumped 4 inches of snow. It was 32 degrees, and 4 days later, it was 80 degrees. So you can see a variability in the temperatures usually causes severe weather in most cases. And this happens because we have cold and warm air fighting, and we all know basic stuff here. And number 3, the flower moon. We'll cover this in more detail here in a little bit as I break down some interesting astronomical events for the month of May. The full moon on May 12th of this year, it's going to be peaking at 12:56 Eastern Time in the evening, earns its flower moon title from Native American tribes like the Algonquin, who linked it to spring's floral explosions like lilacs, tulips, and wildflowers popping up across the U.S. It's one of the brightest full moons of the year due to its timing near the equinox, and this year it'll appear largest on the nights of May 12th and 13th, rising around 8 o'clock local time. Of course, you gotta have it to be clear out to see the moon, obviously, and on average there's a 50% chance, so it's a toss-up to see clouds. And of course, this far out we don't know what the forecast is going to be, so I'll be keeping y'all informed on whether or not y'all will be able to see it, and hopefully much of the country will be able to see it because it's pretty fascinating. Now the last one here, of course, May is very, very rainy, and April was very, very rainy. is a historic month when it came to flooding, especially for the Ohio Valley, as the Ohio River flooded and the Mississippi River was cresting as well. On average, we see over 3 to 5 inches of rain for the month of May. Some spots hitting 6 to 7 inches in the southeast especially. Why this happens, of course, warm, humid air fights with cold air. Then whammo, we get severe thunderstorms, which causes flooding. In May of 2020, there was a record of 8.1 inches dumped on Miami in 1 week alone, doubling its normal. So the active April could signal an active May, and I will keep you updated on this. So prepare for the worst, hope for the best is all I'm saying, because May could be another wild ride. Now, some interesting folklore. 3 chilly saints. The saying, cold hits May 11, 12, 13, stems from medieval Europe, tied to the feast days of Saint Mamertus, May 11th, Pancras, May 12th, and Gervas, May 13th. These ice saints marked a late spring cold snap, often a final Arctic blast before summer. Farmers watched warily, plant too early, and frost could zap crops like beans or corn. In 1891, a May 12th freeze hit the northeast, dropping temps down to 28 degrees in New York, proving the lore's legs. For this year, a mid-May chill could echo this if April's cold fronts linger. Old wisdom worth a nod. The second one, rain and harvest. Cold wet May, barn full of hay, and a May flood never did anyone good, are two sides of a coin from English farming lore. The first, rooted in the 1600s, suggests chilly rainy Mays boost grass for hay, like 1957 when a wet UK May led to record harvests. The flip side warns of excess. Too much rain drowned seedlings, like in 1910 when Ohio's May floods cut corn yields by 20%. These sayings balance hope and caution. This year's wet April start may lean towards the flood warning if May piles on, so May could be another wild month when it comes to flooding and severe weather, just like April. Number 3, cat clues. When a cat washes her face over her ear, 'tis a sign weather will be fine and clear. Hails from colonial America, where settlers watched animals for weather cues. Cats grooming past their ears beyond the usual face look meant calm air may be tied to static or humidity shifts they sensed. Sailors swore by it too. A 1750 log from a British ship noted, cat's ear wash, fair winds next morn. No science backs it, of course, but it's a quirky gem. Test it, y'all. If skies clear, post-storm. Number 4, and the last one here, wind wisdom. A whistling wind in May storms come into play. Comes from Scottish shepherds who linked high-pitched breezes to brewing chaos. It's not just poetry. Gusty winds often signal clashing air masses, a May staple. In 1842, a whistling gale preceded a May 20th storm that sank 3 ships off Nova Scotia. For this year, if April's gusts, for example, 40 mile an hour in Kansas on April 6th, carry into May, this lore could flag tornado or thunder risks. So listen close, y'all. Now, some astronomical events to watch out for this month. The Eta Aquariid meteor shower, a celestial firework display, May kicks off with the Eta Aquariid meteor shower peaking on the night of May 6th into the morning of May 7th, sparked by Halley's Comet debris. This shower could deliver up to 60 meteors per hour in the southern hemisphere and about 30 in the northern hemisphere. For the best view, escape city lights after midnight Eastern time and look eastward toward Aquarius. A waxing gibbous moon may hide fainter meteors, so find a dark spot, bring a blanket, and enjoy with no telescope needed. Of course, the flower moon, did mention this earlier. Here, the flower moon lights up the night of May 12th at 4:57 p.m. Eastern time. The full moon, known as the flower moon, corn planting moon, or milk moon, will illuminate the night sky worldwide. This springtime lunar event celebrates growth and renewal, visible to all without equipment. Step aside for a moonlit stroll or snap a photo to capture its glow. And of course, new moon. We have new moons that occur in May. Stargazers delight on May 26th at 11:04 p.m. Eastern Time. The new moon will darken the sky, creating prime conditions for spotting faint galaxies and star clusters. Telescope owners, this is your night to explore the deep cosmos. Check with local astronomy clubs for star parties, which often align with new moons for optimal viewing. And the last one here, Venus shines as morning star on May 31st. Venus reaches its greatest western elongation, appearing as a brilliant morning star in the eastern sky before sunrise at 45.9 degrees from the sun. It's unmissable. Rise early, grab a coffee, and enjoy this dazzling planet. No gear is required. And a fascinating fact about the moon's extreme temperature swings. Did you know the moon's surface endures wild temperature extremes? With no atmosphere to regulate heat, the moon's daytime temperatures at the equator can soar to a scorching 260 degrees or 127 degrees Celsius under direct sunlight, hot enough to boil water. At night or in shadowed craters, temperatures plummet to a bone-chilling negative 280 degrees or negative 173 Celsius if you still stick to the metric system. During the full moon on May 12th, the illuminated side will be baking, while the new moon on May 26th hides a frozen dark side. These swings make the moon a harsh environment for future explorers, requiring advanced thermal protection for missions like NASA's Artemis program. So that's an interesting fact about the moon. It can have negative 200 degrees on one side and positive 200 degrees on the other. Now some space explorations that are going to be going on for the month of May in China. Launching this month, this asteroid sample return and comet probe targets the near-Earth asteroid, which will study a comet to unlock solar system secrets. While not visible, follow updates from space agencies for a front row seat to history. Now SpaceX is going to be having some missions as well. There's going to be Starlink launches on May 1st. Then we're launching 2 Falcon 9 rockets to expand its Starlink constellation for global internet. It's going to be launching off at 10 a.m. Eastern Time from Cape Canaveral in Florida, followed by Starlink Group 15 at 3 p.m. Eastern Time in California, adding nearly 7,000 satellites in orbit. And of course, NASA is going to have some missions as well. On May 11th, a Falcon 9 will launch NASA's tandem reconnection and cusp electrodynamics reconnaissance satellites from Vandenberg. These satellites will study the Sun and Earth magnetic interactions, aiding space weather forecasts. Axiom Mission 4 on May 29th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. A Crew Dragon will launch Axiom Mission 4 from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, sending 4 astronauts, including Peggy Whitson and India's Shubhashu Shuka, what a name, to the International Space Station for a 14-day private mission. The last one here, Starship Flight 9, no earlier than early May. SpaceX's Starship, the most powerful rocket ever, will launch its 9th test flight from Starbase, Texas, using Booster 14 and Ship 35. Mission aims to reuse this super heavy booster and achieve re-entry and landing goals critical for NASA's Artemis program and Mars plans. I'm sure Trump's going to be talking about that. He's going to be talking about how it grabbed it like chopsticks. So there's some missions to look out for this year. And here's an update on the Voyagers. Now Voyager 1 and 2 been up there since the 70s. It's over 15 billion and 13 billion miles away from Earth. Here's an update on this. Voyager 1, of course, had power challenges in October of last year. Voyager 1 lost contact after its fading power supply, switching to a weaker band, and by November, NASA restored it to normal operations. But in February, cosmic ray subsystem was turned off to save power. 3 instruments remain active: the magnetometer, plasma wave subsystem, and low energy charged particle instrument is set to shut down in 2026. These steps aim to extend Voyager 1's missions into the 2030s, but of course, I don't think it'll last that long. It's pretty much already almost gone at this point, but hopefully it lasts longer. Now Voyager 2 is in energy conservation mode. On March 24th of this year, Voyager 2's low energy charged particle instrument was deactivated following its plasma science instrument shutdown in October of last year. 3 instruments remain, and another one is set to shut down in 2026. So we can see that the Voyager 1 and 2 is still out there collecting data, but barely. Now here's some tips to Skywatch if you want to go out there and watch some of these interesting events. You have to find a dark location, obviously. Check the weather. If the time is right, sure, head out there and view the flower moon at 4:57 p.m. Eastern Time. May 12th is the new moon, and May 26th as well. Bring the right gear. Make sure you have the right gear with you. And use astronomy apps. There's just There's some astronomy apps out there to help y'all with that as well. Make sure you dress for the night. If it's going to be cold, just dress accordingly. Observe safely. Join some star parties and capture the moment. Take some pictures and stay updated on the launches that are going to be coming up. SpaceX is going to be launching missions, as well as some Chinese missions as well. Now, shifting gears here to some significant weather events from the oldest to the most recent, starting off with the Johnstown flood on May 30th of 1889. After relentless rain, about 6 to 10 inches over days, the South Fork Dam above Pennsylvania gave way at 3:10 p.m. on May 30th of 1889. A 40-foot wall of water roared 14 miles downstream, hitting speeds of 40 miles an hour and carrying debris like locomotives and houses. Killed over 2,200 people, destroyed over 1,800 homes, and left $17 million in damage. It's about $550 million today. Poor dam maintenance and a wet spring made it a perfect storm, May's deadliest weather disaster in history. Fun fact, the debris pile was so big, it burned for months. Locals called it the fire that would not quit, with some saying it smelled like a grim barbecue. The next one here, the St. Louis tornado on May 27th, 1896. On May 27th of 1896 at 5 o'clock in the evening, an F4 tornado, estimated winds at 168 to 199 miles an hour, ripped through St. Louis and East St. Louis, carving a 10-mile by 1 mile path. It killed at least 255 people, 137 in St. Louis and 118 in East St. Louis alone, injured over 1,000 people, and damaged or destroyed 8,500 buildings, $10 million in losses, $366 million in today's dollars. A muggy 86-degree day, dropping barometric pressure to 26.74, and greenest skies, which is usually a sign of hail, preceded the 20-minute rampage that wrecked the Eads Bridge and sank 20 riverboats. May's stormy led to upwards of 3 to 4 inches of rain later, primed this urban catastrophe, third deadliest in U.S. history. Fun fact, a 2x10 plank pierced a 5x16-inch iron plate on the Eads Bridge, proof even tornado-proof steel, bowed to May's fury. So you can see in St. Louis and East St. Louis, there was a big tornado that struck through there. Now in 1933, there was a Long Beach earthquake in California. On May 1st, a 6.4 magnitude quake rocked Long Beach, California at 5:54 p.m. on May 10th, 1933, killing 120 and causing $40 million in damage, over $900 million today. Days of stormy May weather, about 2.3 inches of rain, and 40-mile-an-hour gusts had already softened the ground, worsening collapses of poorly built schools and homes. Aftershocks rattled nerves through May 15th under cloudy 60-degree skies, a rare May double whammy of earth and weather. Fun fact, a local movie theater collapsed mid-show, but the film kept rolling. Survivors said the flickering screen was their quake soundtrack. From earthquakes to another tornado in Waco, Texas, May 11th, 1953, an F5 tornado hit Waco at 4:37 p.m. with 260-mile-an-hour winds slashing a 20-mile path. It killed 114 people, injured 597, and trashed 600 homes and 1,000 cars, $41 million in damage, over $450 million today. A humid 85-degree day and a rare upper-level low unleashed its May's deadliest Texas tornado, flattening downtown. Fun fact, brick building's clock froze at 4:37. Locals left it as a tornado time tribute. And from tornadoes to volcanoes, Mount St. Helens erupted on May 18th, 1980 at 8:32 in the morning in Washington, left 57 dead and left about $1.1 billion in damage, $4 billion today. As a mild 60-degree morning turned into a worst-case scenario as ash hit 80,000 feet, coating 11 states. 60-mile-an-hour winds and a half-inch of rain spread muddy chaos. May's weather stretched the deadliest U.S. volcanic event. Fun fact, ash gunked up cars 300 miles away. Spokane mechanics dubbed it volcanic car flu. And we had the Gerald tornado on May 27, 1997. An F5 tornado struck Gerald, Texas at 3:48 in the evening, with 260-mile-an-hour winds scouring a 5-mile path at 10 o'clock in the evening. It killed 27, erased homes to slabs, and dealt $40 million in damage, $75 million in today's dollars. A steamy 85-degree day and stalled front birthed this slow, savage beast, May's most intense twister. Fun fact, a cow landed alive in a tree. Locals called her Tornado Bessie and fed her for years. And in 2003, we had a Midwest tornado outbreak. A record 401 tornadoes hit 19 states from May 4th to 10th. 84 on May 4th alone, and F4 in Kansas City killed 19, part of $4.5 billion and damaged $7 billion to today's dollars, to 50,000 homes. Warm 80-degree air and a 140-mile-an-hour jet stream drove it to be one of May's costliest weather events ever. Fun fact, a Missouri man's truck flew 1,000 feet, but landed upright. He drove it home, calling it the luckiest rig around. The guy better get him a lottery ticket. Lucky guy there. Now the Joplin tornado, we all pretty much know about this one. May 22nd, 2011. An F5 tornado blasted Joplin at 5:41 p.m. with 260-mile-an-hour winds, leveling a 6-mile swath, left 158 dead, over 1,100 injured, $2.8 worth of damage, which is $3.7 billion today. It was a humid 75-degree day, and a 150-mile-an-hour jet stream spawned it May's deadliest recent disaster. Fun fact, a hospital's x-ray machine flew 2 miles, landing intact. Staff dubbed it the ghost scanner. Now from regular weather history to some wartime weather history, from the Revolutionary War to World War II, starting off with the Revolutionary War. May 10th, 1775. A mild May weather greased the wheels of rebellion. On May 10th, Ethan Allen and 83 Green Mountain Boys nabbed Fort Ticonderoga, New York, under clear 50-degree skies. No shots fired, just a sleepy British garrison caught off guard by May 25th. British generals Howe, Clinton, and Burgoyne landed in Boston with 4,500 troops, aided by fair winds and 60-degree temps, setting up June's bloody Bunker Hill fight. Spring's calm was a silent war booster. Fun fact, Allen's men looted the fort's rum stash, downing 20 gallons in a rowdy toast. Some were still tipsy when Benedict Arnold showed up to co-lead. Now another Revolutionary War event from the 10th into the 31st, the Second Continental Congress, starting May 10th in Philadelphia. The Second Continental Congress met to organize the war effort, appointing George Washington as commander on May 15th. Weather records suggest mild 60-degree days with occasional showers, about 1.5 inches total, keeping delegates comfortable indoors at the State House. This stability let them focus. They formed the Continental Army and issued $2 million in currency. Stormier May could have delayed travel or morale. A fun fact, delegates grumbled about Philly's humid May air. John Adams wrote home craving a breeze that doesn't feel like soup. Now next we have the Civil War, Chancellorsville, May 1st to 6th, 1863. The Battle of Chancellorsville unfolded amid mild 60-degree weather and patchy rain. About a half inch of rain fell on May 1st to 2nd, turned Virginia's dirt roads into ankle-deep muck. By May 3rd, skies cleared to partially cloudy, letting Robert E. Lee split his 60,000-man army and flank the Union's 130,000 troops into a 12-mile march through dense woods. The May 6th win cost 1,600 Confederate lives, including Stonewall Jackson, accidentally shot by his own men, but stunned the North weather as a tactical edge. Fun fact, Lee's stealthy troops were so quiet, Union scouts mistook them for deer until 20,000 rebels crashed the party. Next one here is the Siege of Vicksburg. Begins on May 18th to 19th of 1863. Ulysses S. Grant's Union Army encircled Vicksburg, Mississippi, starting on May 18th, 1863, aimed to choke the Confederacy's Mississippi River lifeline. May weather was warm in the 80s, with 2 inches of rain, which helped soften the ground for the trenches. Clear spells mid-month aided artillery setup, but heat and mud exhausted troops. The siege lasted until July 4th, but May's mix of rain and sun shaped Grant's early grip. 40,000 Union versus 30,000 Confederate troops. Fun fact, soldiers nicknamed the muddy trenches Grant's bathtubs. Some caught fish in them during downpours. Now, on to World War I, the Second Battle of Artois, May 9th to June 18th and 19th. Now on May 9th, 1915, French and British forces, about 250,000 troops, launched an offensive in Artois, France, against 150,000 Germans entrenched along a 12-mile front. Mild 50s and 60s degree weather and dry conditions early on favored artillery barrages. French guns fired 2.1 million shells by May 15th, but rain hit May 12th to 13th. About an inch of rain turned chalky soil into sticky mud, bogging down infantry advances. Clear skies by May 16th aided French gains, but gains were minimal, about 30,000 Allied casualties for 2 miles. May's weather swings dictated the brutal pace. Fun fact, soldiers used empty shell casings as vases for wildflowers during lulls, calling them trench bouquets. Now from World War I to World War II, we had the Germany invasion of France and Low Countries on May 10th of 1940. On May 10th, Germany's fall, Gelb unleashed 136 divisions, 2.5 million men, on the Netherlands, Belgium, and France. Clear 60 and 70-degree skies and dry ground on May 10th to 15th let Panzer tanks blitz 50 miles daily across open plains. 3,000 Luftwaffe planes dominated. Rain on May 16th slowed Allied retreats more than German armor, which hit the English Channel by May 20th, trapping 400,000 Allied troops. May's early clarity was Hitler's ace. Fun fact, Dutch kids flew kites in the calm invasion days, then hid when German paratroopers dropped. Taking kites were signals. Now the last one here, in World War II, the Battle of Crete, May 20th to 30th of 1941. Germany invaded Crete on May 20th of 1941, dropping 22,000 paratroopers against 42,000 Allied troops, which was in British, Greek, and New Zealand. Clear 70-degree Mediterranean skies and 10-mile-an-hour winds gave 500 Ju-52 planes ideal conditions. 7,000 troops landed in hours, though 271 planes were lost. Showers, May 25th and 26th, muddied Allied fallback routes, not German airfields. Crete fell by May 31st, costing Germany 3,300 dead. May's weather tilted the airborne edge. Fun fact, German paratrooper got snagged in some vineyard vines. Locals untangled him, only for Allies to nab him an hour later. So there's some significant weather and wartime weather events. Now lastly, let's go ahead and get into the summary breakdown by region. I'm also going to compare previous enso neutral years like 2019 and 2021, for example. And I'm only going to summarize this for y'all, so y'all can pause the video anytime to read this if you want to. Not going to bore y'all with the details. Also included average temperatures and precipitation for y'all as well. Starting off with the eastern part of the country in the northeast, I would expect near normal precipitation with wetter conditions, especially in New England in early May. Expect average temperatures though, low severe weather risk. It's going to be wet just like in 2019, but less flooding. It's going to be warmer than 2021, so this year could stand out. It could be wet and warm up there in the northeast, good for spring activities, so keep those umbrellas handy, especially in early May. Mid-south can be slightly drier than normal. Thunderstorms possible for this month. Temperatures are going to be above normal. Average severe storm risk. Drier than 2019's wet and stormy mid-south. Warmer than 2021's cooler, wetter May. So monitor for storms. Farmers may need irrigation. Midwest, I would expect near normal precipitation. Going to be wet in early May for Missouri though, so watch out down there. Above average temperatures. Low tornado risk. Thunderstorms likely though. Less wet than 2019's flooding in the Midwest, but similar to 2021's normal rain. Warmer. So this year, the weather differs from 2019's extremes. Southeast, I would expect normal precipitation. Drier late May in Carolinas though. 3 to 4 degrees above normal temperatures. Typical thunderstorms, but low tornado risk. Like 2019's normal rain, but warmer. Less wet than 2021 though. So this year's warmth stands out. Good for planting, but prep for showers. Now, the central and western part of the country, and the northern part, I would expect a wetter earlier May, but drier later. Near average temperatures, low tornado risk. Some thunderstorms though, like 2019's early rain, but less flooding. But it's going to be drier late, just like in 2021, but cooler. So it's going to be wet and dry up there in the northern part of the country. Early rain helps crops, but watch for dryness. The central and southern plains, expect drier than normal conditions. Drought risks could be a problem in Texas. Early May may bring 2 to 3 inches of rain. but less later. Expect above normal temperatures, average tornado risk. It's going to be drier than 2019's wet and stormy season in the plains, but warmer than 2021's cooler and stormier May. So this year's heat and dryness are going to be key. So make sure you irrigate crops and stay alert for severe weather down there. The Northwest, I would expect near normal precipitation. Wetter in Washington early May. Expect near normal temperatures, but low severe weather risk. It's going to be wetter than 2019's drier Northwest. Similar to 2021's normal rain, but cooler. So this early wet pattern aligns with neutral norms. Good for agriculture. Expect typical spring showers up there. Southwest, expect very dry, worsening drought conditions. It's going to be cooler in early May, so fire risks by late May could be possible. The comparison here, it's going to be dry like 2019 and 2021, but cooler than 2019's heat or 2021's warmer May. So this year, the drought persists down there, unfortunately. So conserve water and monitor fire risks. Now, in summary, basically, why this month is going to be different for this year. Warmer temperatures, especially in the plains and the southeast and mid-south, contrast with 2019's cooler May and 2021's mixed conditions. The plains and southwest are drier than 2019's wetter central U.S., but align with 2021's drier trends. A weaker jet stream this year limits storms compared to 2019's active pattern, while this year's warmth reflects ongoing climate trend. Now, I would recommend checking local forecasts, of course, the NOAA website, weather.gov, since neutral conditions can obviously shift quickly, so make sure you monitor the National Weather Service for further updates. I'll obviously keep y'all updated on the weather for the month of May, and if there's severe weather, I'll keep y'all updated as well. So hopefully y'all liked today's video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate all of y'all for watching. Enjoy your May. Hopefully those April showers bring plenty of flowers for y'all, and hopefully the drought don't get too bad in the southwest. So enjoy your May, y'all. Have a great day. Appreciate all you for watching. Don't forget to share the video so others can view it as well, and like it and subscribe. And until next time, appreciate all you for watching, and never stop forecasting.